And we're live. Hello, citizens, and welcome back to the Comm Relay. And Nylon, indeed, here we are. After a long break, I realized that, I can actually stream because I streamed on Thursday. And I realized, I haven't done Comm Relay in a while. Mostly because there was nothing that I wanted to talk about that was going on. But since I believe it's next Friday, I think it starts on the 15th. Next Thursday is when Invictus Launch Week 2955 is starting. I want to talk about Invictus because there is a lot of expectations, a lot of anticipation, and Little Cat, we're doing something here. Thank you kindly. And a lot of very interesting and very different information going out about what is going to be on. Hopefully we're going to get some guests because I invited a couple people to talk about what they are going to do on Invictus and what their expectations are. But for now, let's start with what we know, which is that the Idris tour is going to be a little bit different. Now it's going to be stationary. Finally. Now that was my major gripe with both Invictus and IAE, which was that, there is a Javelin, but it moves all the time, or there's an Idris and it moves all the time, which is nice, but I would like it to, be in one place so I can only go to one place and not have to figure out where it is. And I think the main reason why they did it, where it's at Area 18, is because the mission marker that shows you where the Idris is was not converted for server meshing yet. That's why I think they did it. That's why we have a physics-defying Idris hovering over Area 18, which tanks the frame rate. However, I did try it in last night's build, and it is a little bit better. I still get half the frame rate at Area 18 that I usually get, but it's better. I can at least go places, and it doesn't look like a slideshow. So, yay. Maybe it's going to get better by the time they release live. But of course, we know live is going to go out Thursday evening, half hour before the actual event starts, and we know how that usually goes. Anyway, just to do my... I forgot to do my public service announcements at the start of the show, so first of all, welcome to the Comm Relay. Comm Relay is a show where I talk to my guests who are free to come in whenever they want about the topic of the day, which today is Invictus Launch Week. And all you have to do to be a guest on the Comm Relay is show up on my Discord and be in the waiting room when I am streaming this. And I will pull you in and we're going to talk. So if you're... And this is streamed live on Twitch, and it is subsequently uploaded to Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast as a podcast. Subsequently is going to probably not be tonight, because I did an oopsie today. I sort of messed up my scheduling this weekend, and I haven't had a chance to edit the video for tomorrow, so I would like to finish the video for tomorrow and then turn this into a podcast. So just bear with me on that one. Anyway, so one major change for Invictus this year, Idris is in one place, physics defying. I actually haven't been to see it in the PTU. I am told there have been some changes to the Idris interior, and I kind of want to see it in live. I don't want to spoil it to myself. I have been to the halls because I was doing I was taking some pictures there, but every time I went, there were no ships on display, which might have been on purpose, or maybe it was a bug, I don't know. But I will go there anyway once the event is live. And hello, good evening. And what was I going to say? Oh, right. And the halls themselves are very different. And I think this is actually also a step in the right direction, which is that the halls are always going to be the same. It's just that the contents are going to rotate every day rather than just it being a completely different hall, which I think is a much better... Oh, and thank you for the resubscribe. 7 months now. Very nice. Single-handedly fueling my Twitch income right there. But it now says I have 2 subscribers, but I don't know who the other subscriber is. Oh well, I guess I will figure it out in the Twitch backend at some point. Anyway, so I think that's a more effective technical solution, and it mitigates some of the running around. Plus, they also said that the new ships, because they said there was going to be 4 new ships this Invictus, that they said there's going to be 4 new ships announced or shown off at Invictus, and they are all going to be shown always, if that makes sense. I'm not entirely sure how they meant it, but I guess we will see when it goes live. For now, we know that there's definitely going to be the Starlancer TAC, because that's been in production for a while. We also definitely know there's going to be the Guardian MX, which is supposedly the missile variant of the Guardian. But really, if you look at... I've seen like the leaked loadout, and obviously it's a leak, so not 100% confirmed, and it doesn't really bring up, that much of a missile loadout, really. It's just kind of a more well-rounded heavy fighter, except it's not really a heavy fighter, because according to CIG themselves, heavy fighters have turrets. So, is Guardian really a heavy fighter? Not according to CIG. So, even though they classify it as a heavy fighter. To which all I can say is, make a decision, CIG. Is it a heavy fighter, or is it... So, either it is not a heavy fighter, or heavy fighters don't always have a turret. Now, are there other heavy fighters that don't have a turret? I don't think so. Actually, no, the Scorpius Antares. It is still a heavy fighter, but it doesn't have a turret. It has the MP instead. But you can technically argue that the Scorpius Antares is not a heavy fighter, because it's an, interdiction fighter, or interdictor, or interceptor. Yeah, that's what they call it. Technically. Also, technically, the Super Hornet is actually, no, the Super Hornet is a medium fighter. It's not a heavy fighter. So technically, it's not a heavy fighter, and it doesn't have a turret. So that, again, leaves the Guardian as a heavy fighter without a turret. And we know heavy fighters suck, because they're just not as maneuverable. Okay, F8 Lightning. Well, again, that's actually correct, Nylon. F8 is a heavy... I think it is a heavy fighter. Hold on. I am just going to... It is a heavy fighter. And it does not have a turret. I mean, technically, it has a turret on it. It's just pilot controlled, so technically not really. It's kind of like, again, it's like that gray area where it has a turret. It has a turret, but it's pilot controlled, so it doesn't really help you defend yourself, because it can't shoot behind you. But I guess if you put an AI blade on it, it could work. So yeah, there we go. F8 and the Guardian. And technically, if they could sell the Guardian MX as a missile boat, because it kind of has the size. And I have flown the Guardian a little bit, and it is more maneuverable than other heavy fighters, like the Vanguards, for example, or even like the Hurricane. So if this is kind of the direction they want to go, they could just reclassify it as a medium fighter, and I would not say a word, because it kind of fits that class, in my opinion. Someone could argue that it doesn't have a turret because it has living quarters on it, but so does the Vanguard, and it has a turret, and a manned turret. specifically. So, you know, okay, well, there was a bit of a detour into fighters and fighter structures, but it actually brings us into another of the interesting additions that are coming out in or at Invictus next week, which is flight blades, which is not the blades we all wanted. Oh, yeah, correct. Long range fighter. So yes, you could sell it that way. You could sell the Guardian and the F8 as a long range fighter long range heavy fighter if you wanted to. Technically, yeah. But I mean, the CIG themselves said, these classifications are not like firm, and things are gonna be on the boundary, and that's what creates diversity. But then they also balance the Prospector as a light fighter. So there is a bit of as usual, there is a bit of disparity in statements and actions, as always. But yes, flight blades. So we don't know much about flight blades, because we realized that flight blades are going to be added in when we saw it as an equipment slot in the Mobiglass in the PTU, and because the loading screen mentions flight blades. And the only clarifications we have received on this from CIG, it was in a comment, and then I think they put it in the patch watch as well, is that you can put in a flight blade in your ship, and that somehow changes how it flies. And they haven't really elaborated beyond that. So and they're not in the PTU yet, as far as I can tell. So we don't really know what's it gonna do. My concern is that this is going to be incredibly difficult to balance, especially if it's like a significant change to how your ship handles. Like, for example, it makes your afterburner capacitor spend slower, or it gives you a little bit of lateral velocity for maneuvering. And my second concern is, how are we going to obtain these flight blades? Because knowing CIG, it's going to be locked behind an event, or it's going to be locked behind contested zones, or it's going to be loot only, where, for example, they have added new collector missions in 4.1.1. And some of them require something called an Ace Interceptor helmet, which doesn't exist anywhere in the files at the time of when I'm recording this. And you get these Ace Interceptor helmets as a drop from the patrol missions that they're adding, where there is some chance that the patrol mission will spawn a Ace pilot as your enemy. And these Ace pilots will have these Ace Interceptor helmets on them. Now, while I appreciate a good fetch quest, this is just so RNG, because it's like, I have to get the mission, I have to get the correct variant of the mission, and then I also have to hope that I soft death my opponent, so I can get on board his ship and loot him. There's like a lot of variables in that, and some of those collector missions are like, bring me 10 of these helmets. So that's what I'm kind of worried about with flight blades, where they're gonna like lock it behind a Wicklow reward, or it's gonna be a align and mine, or it's gonna like require the align and mine material, or it's gonna be a contested zones only, or it's gonna be loot only, so you're not gonna be able to buy them, or you're only gonna be able to buy like the very basic components, or like the very basic flight blades that do basically nothing, and you might as well not use it. That's kind of my big concern with that. And since we kind of touched the Wicklow rewards a little bit, I did some research, and currently in 4.1 there is only one Wicklow mission that you can complete without doing align and mine. Literally just one, just the one where you bring him food. That's the one, and you get like a t-shirt or like a piece of clothing or something out of that. In the next patch, in 4.1.1, I think it's like 3 or 4, which is better but still not great, and it's the food one. There's a new one where you bring him 5 mining gadgets and you get like again a piece of clothing. Then there's one where you bring him some of the interceptor helmets, and I think you get favors for it. And then there's one where you exchange the mercenary guild scripts for 1 favor. So you do 50 mercenary guild scripts for 1 favor. And you can't really use the favors for anything without the align and mine rewards. So I think you actually can. I think there was a mission where you can exchange favors for ship components. So technically, I guess it's an improvement. Practically, not really. I would just like to see more variety in the collector rewards. But it seems like they're adding more collector rewards and they're trying to branch out a little bit. So that's good. So we will see what they come out with in the follow-on patches. Now, back to Invictus, following a sidetrack about missions and such. Back to Invictus. So they're introducing a mercenary guild script system where essentially you get physicalized currency for completing certain missions for the mercenary guild. And they also like tied it into visiting the expo itself. And then they have like the UE Navy patrol missions and also the new ship combat academy missions, which give you a couple mercenary guild scripts, which as far as I know, as far as I learned, you can only trade those for favors right now, but I'm assuming there's going to be a way to exchange those for something in the future, or maybe that's the redacted part. But you fortunately have both lawful and lawless versions of this. So lawful gives mercenary guild scripts, and lawless gives the council scripts. So they're finally introducing the council as a faction that you can interact with, which is very nice. However, I am kind of sad to see that they haven't incorporated this into other mercenary type missions. Possibly because those are not handled through the mercenary guild. But we still have, a lot of mercenary missions like go to a bunker and clear it out or help defend. And, well, I would have kind of expected that to give back some of the scripts. But it doesn't, unfortunately. But it's actually fairly easy to get the 50 scripts that you can trade for 1 favor. Basically, just going to the expo gives you 20. The Hunt the Polaris mission gives 10, if I recall correctly, last time I checked. And then you get some number for the Flight Academy missions, and you get some number for the UE patrol missions. And all of those are repeatable, so you can just infinitely farm. Like if you only have an Aurora, all you can do is just like over and over farm the level 1 or like the first Flight Academy mission, and that gives you a little bit of money because it's still counted as a bounty mission, and it gives you 1 mercenary guild script. It's pretty grindy, but it can be done. And obviously you can like bring Wicklow some food and bring him some like the mining gadgets and such. So yeah, it's workable. Will need some balance, but it's workable. Now, there are 2 other ships that are going to be ships or vehicles that are going to be announced or released at Invictus, and we don't know what those are going to be. However, on Thursday, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, there was a Bar Citizen in Beijing, and they had basically a Star Citizen live with John Crew and company, and they talked a lot about other ships. And the specific things that they mentioned is that a lot of stuff got shelved because of lack of gameplay, which is understandable. Off that list, I only don't understand why the Zeus MR got shelved. because technically it has gameplay. Like, the only reason I can think of is, oh, they don't want to rework the prisoner transport mechanics, which is fair. That's just a lot of work to be doing twice, so fair enough. Starliner, yep, E1, fair. Kind of disappointed that the Galaxy got delayed and is going to come out after the Perseus. And I believe they said no Perseus at Invictus, possibly Perseus at IAE. So I think that's acceptable. And when you think about it, I think the Perseus is actually a sub-capital, if I recall correctly. Let's see, RSI Perseus. Yeah, it's large. It's not capital. So really doesn't impact the capital ship balance or anything. So yeah. And there was some talk of ground vehicles, specifically larger ground vehicles in sort of a mobile ground vehicle type base thing. So that could be interesting. But I'm kind of disappointed the Galaxy got pushed after the Perseus, because I own a Galaxy, or I own a Galaxy Pledge, and I would like my Galaxy with the refinery. But I'm guessing they're possibly waiting for refinery gameplay. Who knows? Yeah, they mentioned that they're looking into ground vehicles, and especially like larger ground vehicles. So and there was like a mention of like moving living area type thing. Like, I think they used like a mobile base ground vehicle specifically. That's what was said. I think larger, because they said that the current limitation is the size of hangars for, you know, creating larger vehicles, and they were talking about like Cutlass sized. So that could be very interesting. I think. Like, I don't know, what would you use it for? To be honest, I don't know what would you like use that for. Just no idea, because there is no vehicle that can transport it unless the Liberator comes out. Maybe. So they actually talked about it as well. So they would like way in the future introduce a ship that can do vein mining like the Pioneer can, or you know, like extracting from the ground instead of a mineable rock. And yeah, the Pioneer can do that, and they said they want to introduce another ship that can do it. So that should be interesting. I think it's going to be the Erastra, or end up being the Erastra, and that's going to be like the gimmick of the size 3 mining laser. And QGix, wouldn't it fit in an ironclad? A Cutlass-sized thing? Would it fit? Yes. Would you be able to drive it out the door? Maybe? Depending on, you know, how tall it is. Like, if it's just like wide, you know, wide and long, then that's fine. Like, what I'm thinking of is like the, you know, the Soviet Arctic exploration vehicles, where it was literally just like a tracked train and it had like living bits on it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. But yeah, not sure. But yeah, they said the hangar size or vehicle pad size is the limitation, because you can't really. That was very interesting. Those things did not work very well. If I recall, what was it called? The vehicle was named after Kharkov, so I think it was called like Kharkov Kanka or something like that. So yeah, interesting, but blocked by vehicle pads and vehicle hangars. So we're probably going to see that way in the future once that problem gets addressed. I'm more interested in the deep mining vehicle, I'm kind of thinking it could be like a mole variant, right? But ultimately, I think, you know, most probable is, oh yeah, it's going to be the Arastra because size pre-mining laser. That's what I think is going to be. And that's really it, sort of pertaining to Invictus. I mean, they gave out a lot of information at that Bar Citizen, which a lot of people are upset about, because reasonably so, because like, oh, this is like not really an official event or an official show, and this information, while it was later relayed to everybody else, but it was relayed by multiple people in multiple Spectrum posts, and there was no like official, you know, official post that would cover all these things, and that's what I would kind of like to see. Like, especially like if you have devs going to a Bar Citizen and they answer questions, there should someone be like, okay, well, let me record this so we can like either post the video or we can like write it down and post it, you know, post a post about like what was asked and what we answered and how we answered, so it can be referenced. And that's just kind of for like transparency, in my opinion. But obviously it's happening as a community initiative, so do we really care? Me personally, no, but would be nice if CIG did it. Anyway, so we don't know what the other two vehicles are going to be. Some people have thrown around the idea that the Idris P is going to release, which I think is the... I know there's like 3 Idris variants. And I'm gonna Google it. Because I know there was like the Idris P, Idris K, and there's one more, I think. Yeah, the Idris M, Idris K, and Idris P. And the Idris P is the Peacekeeper. So that's kind of the civilian variant, my understanding. So I think it loses the railgun, if I recall correctly. But it has more cargo capacity. Let's see, weapons. Yeah, it doesn't have the railgun. And the Idris K has the beam weapon, which is like upgradable to whatever. And it has like a laser beam thing. And then you have the Idris M, which is the military variant, which has all the guns. So people are saying that the Idris P is going to be released at Invictus. While that would be very cool, admittedly, that would be very, very cool, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, we just had the Polaris release as the first capital ship, and we're sort of seeing what kind of issues that's causing. With like balance and people really exploiting the PDCs and just like generally soloing a capital ship. So I don't think it's going to be a good idea to put another capital ship into the mix at the moment. On the other hand, if you have 2 capital ships in the mix, you have more data that you can use for balancing. And at the same time, if the Idris P is pretty much ready to go, because the Idris M is pretty much ready to go since it's on display, then might as well. Like, I don't think it's gonna like do that much damage because it doesn't have the railgun, which is the big thing on it. So might be good for balance, might be bad for balance. Who knows? Hard to say. But like, you know, if it's ready to go, they could put it out, make a lot of people happy because a lot of people own an Idris, and I'm pretty sure whatever variant of an Idris you have, the P is going to be the loner once it comes out. So we're gonna see a lot of Idrises. On the other hand, I see what it does with performance when it shows up, and same with the Polaris. So I am skeptical. And just generally, I feel like CAG would like tease the release a little bit with something, and they haven't. Then again, they kind of have like that redacted bit in the patch notes, which I really hate. Like I really hate the redacted features. Like, what's the point of it being on the roadmap if it's redacted? Like that tells me nothing. Like I am not hyped for this. This is just frustrating. I don't know. Like I don't know what you guys think about it, but for me that's just frustrating. Like, yeah, if you want to like redact items on the progress tracker, that's fine. But if it's like on the roadmap and it's committed to the patch that's currently in the PTU, then maybe it shouldn't be redacted. Maybe you should tell us what it is, and maybe you should like put it in the game so we can test it. Because untested features are sort of a favorite of CAG, and it always ends terribly. So, I mean, yes, like, fair. You know, if you want me to know that something is coming, then that's okay. But like, don't redact it. Just say like, yep, it's being worked on, but it's not ready for testing, and it's like not in there. So like, either don't put it in there at all, or just like say what it is and say it's not ready, like they do anyway with a whole bunch of features. So like, I don't know, just seems kind of weird. I get it, you know, you want some things to be a surprise, but I don't know, surprise introductions of ships, yay, great, lots of hype, lots of sales. Surprise introduction of missions and stuff, yay, more activities to do, but not yay, they're probably going to be broken because nobody tested them. But at the same time, introducing new features as a surprise, very nay, that's going to be bad. Yes, that'll be fine. Like, just say, yeah, like Anvil Paladin, and like, you know, if it's a ship, it doesn't even like need to be on there. Like, they can just like added, like feature added when it's added. Like, if it's being worked on and it's slotted and it's not yet in there and it's a ship, it's probably like doesn't even need to be, you know, in the redact. But like, if they just said like, yeah, Anvil Paladin, and it's like not ready for testing, that would have been fine by me. Or if they just like said like redacted feature or redacted ship or redacted mission, something like that, that would also be acceptable to me. But yeah, that's, oh right, that's actually one of the other ships. Now that you remind me that Anvil exists, we are getting the Anvil Asgard, which we don't know much about, besides that it looks like a Valkyrie with some minor changes. And my guess, from what I've seen from ISC and some of the pictures, is that it's a Valkyrie that has a taller cargo compartment and a taller ramp. So you can drive an Atlas chassis into it. Because I think the biggest complaint about the Valkyrie, since the Atlas platform vehicles came out, was that a Valkyrie will not fit any of the Atlas platform vehicles. Which I think is a legit complaint, because they would fit, except you know, the door is not tall enough. So I think that's what the Asgard is going to be. I might be wrong, because I am told it has a missile turret on it, which doesn't strike me as a dropship feature. So I guess we will see, but my expectation is that, yep, it's a Valkyrie that has a taller door, no living quarters, retains the same jump seats, or maybe has less jump seats, has the same turret layout, has the same everything. It just like can fit an Atlas chassis. I think that's going to be the whole point of it. Whether that's true or not, we shall see next week. And that leaves us with one ship that's unannounced, and I think that's going to be a concept, since we're going to have basically one ship or one concept being flight ready and two ships that are going to go straight flyable. And that leaves us with one concept that's going to get announced, which is going to be a military ship, obviously. And we will see what that's going to be. I don't actively subscribe to leaks. This is pretty much just sort of what I get through other people, where someone goes like, "Oh, have you heard about the Asgard?" I'm like, "What?" Because I feel like leaks really take out the surprise out of it for me, unfortunately. But that's like okay. Anyway, hydration time. But overall, I am actually very much looking forward to Invictus. The hall looks great. I am looking forward to the displays. I am looking forward to flying a whole bunch of ships. The new specific armors are very ugly because there's like new armors for it, and they're ugly. They're terribly ugly. But that's okay. I am looking forward to the Idris tour because I took some very cool pictures there last year, and B, I am very curious to see what changed on it and kind of what the Idris is like. I haven't been able to preview. Yes, the halls are definitely worth it. The armor, it is definitely not. Oh yes, thank you. I am hydrating. No, I kind of because I made fresh tea before the stream, and I kind of like it was too hot, and now it's not. So, and to explain why I was in such a hurry to do everything today, I was printing, and I was printing this massive thing. It like fits together, and it like creates a axe when it's done. Oh, that is a little sticky. That's a little sticky. I'm gonna put that down. I probably should not be touching sticky resin with bare hands. Yeah, it needs to go out and sit in the sun. Yes, so the axe is almost done with this. Unfortunately, I will not be able to wield it this year. But, well, resin is poison. It's already, like, printed. It's fine. Like, shouldn't like, do anything to me. And, like, look, if I wasn't supposed to be sniffing chemicals, then chemicals shouldn't be so sniffable. I'm just saying, But yeah, so the axe is almost done. Sadly, I will not be able to wield it this year. But I will definitely take some photos of... Like, it's not going to be complete, unfortunately. But it's going to be good enough. Good enough for... because basically what we wanted to do with my friends was go to a cosplay convention that's happening in my city. And we wanted to go as 5 tech priests. So we wanted to have like the robes and the axes and like the sensors and everything. But sadly, 3 of the guys could not make it. They just like too busy with school and real life. One guy doesn't have enough time to make his robe. My robe is still not done either, and the axe is not done as well. So not this year, unfortunately. But that just means I have one more year to prepare this. Because I am saying this with finality in my voice, because yesterday the one other guy is like, "So did you buy your tickets yet?" And I'm like, "No, it's like in 2 months." He's like, "No, it's in 2 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, that's unfortunate." So never mind. But yeah, I'm still gonna print the axe. And I'm still gonna get the robe because I still want the robe and I still want the axe. And that's just how it's gonna be. Well, you see, I didn't say that because I was told in error that the convention is going to be on the 24th of July, when in fact it's going to be on the 24th of May. And I trusted this information, and I did not bother to look it up myself, there you go. Because did I say September? No, it was always July, but like whatever. Yeah, so there you go. So the timelines were not aligned, and it's my fault for not like Googling it for myself, just kind of like blindly trusting my D&D party, which, given my experience with how they played D&D, was a terrible mistake on my part. No offense, guys. Just yeah, you can't trust anyone. But I still want my robe, and I will wear this robe on stream because it is going to be very cool. And yeah, that's just kind of how that ended. But I'm still, so basically this axe that you just looked at is gonna go to my friend, because he is gonna go. I don't know. He said he needs it anyway, so I don't know. I'm just gonna like give him the axe, and he's gonna pay me for it. And then I'm just gonna like print myself another one, starting like immediately after I get more resin, which I can't because it's out of stock everywhere. So yeah. Anyway, back to Star Citizen, back to Invictus. So yes, the hall's definitely worth it. The Idris, I'm assuming, is going to be worth it as well. Where did that come from? Sorry guys, I heard a Discord notification, but Discord is not supposed to announce notifications when I'm streaming. Huh. Maybe I'm going crazy. Anyway, so Hall's definitely worth it. Idris definitely worth it. Armor, because they have like 2 armor sets that are coming out for Invictus. Definitely not worth it. Oh, it might be the chemicals. Anyway, yeah, so armor's definitely not worth it. The ships depends. Like, depends. I like the Starlancer tack, personally. Not gonna buy it though. Don't need it. What I would like is like a 2-seater gunship, so I can bring my friend along and then have her sit in the turret. But other than that, I don't think I'm gonna like do any purchases, or I don't think I'm gonna do any purchases, period. Because my retention bonus is not gonna arrive until June, so and I'm not supposed to be spending that anyway. So so I guess that's gonna be it. But yeah, other than that, there is also the Hunt the Polaris mission, which is gonna be very fun, I think. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that with ADI repeatedly. There are the new Flight Academy missions, which I have only gotten up to like the 3rd or 4th one, because then it gets pretty difficult. Because at that point you kind of need like a multi-crew ship or multiple ships to do it. And the patrol missions are very fun as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well. And the patrol missions are going to be time limited for the Invictus event. So if you want to do those, you should do those like while you are like while Invictus is running. And those give you money, it gives you scripts, and it also apparently there's like a reward at the end, which I'm assuming is going to be an item of some sort. The problem is that last time I checked in the PTU, the missions were broken. So maybe they will fix it, maybe they will not. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's, pretty much my thoughts on Invictus. Yeah. Plus some detours on different things. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Maybe we will get more information as it comes out. I would like to stream on Thursday if the game allows, and just like have a look around the Invictus venue and the Idris. If the game does not allow, I think I'm just gonna stream some Space Marine or something else. Haven't played Space Marine in a couple days. Or War Thunder, if you guys would like to see me struggle immensely against the snail. Because oh my god, I am tier 8 on the American tech tree, and oh my god, I am suffering. I am suffering so much. Like the up tiers are terrible. Like I pretty much only have like one effective vehicle in my whole lineup against all my enemies. So anyway, so I think with that being said, that will be all for today. So this was the Comm Relay. If you would like to join me on the Comm Relay, all you have to do is be on the Armory Discord and be in the waiting room when I'm streaming, which Comm Relay is probably going to be slightly less regular now, as you have probably noticed. Because there was just like not much to talk about. So it is always going to be announced beforehand if there is going to be a Comm Relay. I am keeping the event in there just so I have a time slot that's sort of reserved for myself. And I will try to be streaming every Thursday because that's kind of like the day when I have time to stream. And that's just going to be playing Star Citizen or playing something else or doing something. In other public service announcements, there is going to be an update to the Armory to bring it in line with the new sidearm and multi-tool slot. I already have it done. It's just going to go out with the patch. There is going to be a big overhaul to Hauler. We're working on a brand new UI that's going to fit the theme a little bit better. And I guess we will see when that comes out. And there's a little side project I'm looking into that might be... Essentially, I realized, and might as well talk about it now because we have a little bit of time. Essentially, I realized that the game, like Star Citizen, it creates a lot of logs when you're playing. And there is a lot of interesting information in these logs. For example, who killed you? Or who killed someone else? Or where someone died and where they respawned. But more importantly, it also tells you the price of what you bought currently, whether that's an item, ship, or commodity. It tells you the quantity. So I am looking at building a tool that will be able to analyze these logs and sort of either announce to you that, oh, there's some combat happening at somewhere on your server, watch out. And also, since it can detect purchases, it can also upload automatically to the Armory and sort of create an automatic data collection as you go, which would be very cool, though it still would require you to run an application on your machine, and there is no way to get around it. That's how Elite Dangerous does it. So that's what I'm currently looking at. However, there are some changes to logging with 4.1.1, and they are apparently not definitive as we are going, as we have right now. So I'm waiting for the live release, and then I'm going to reevaluate and to see if this is even feasible and how much I can even do with this in the first place. So that's what we're looking at the moment. And yeah, with that being said, that this was the Comm Relay. Hopefully I will see you guys on the next one, and hopefully I will see some of you on Thursday on the stream. And yeah, this is going to be uploaded to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts as soon as I am able. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for talking to me. And I will see you in the verse. Good night.